हरे कृष्ण। ओम अज्ञातमिदं ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामीति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी विचारिणे शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। We will continue our discussion. Here today we'll try to discuss on time factor. What is time? And we have discussed one aspect of this is how Brahmaji is not depending on his own skills. He is offering prayers. That is the first lesson from this chapter. Is we cannot, and another thing we discussed is we should focus on the activity, not the result. So here we saw Vidra, a great sage, please let me know how Brahma, the grandfather of the planetary inhabitants, created the bodies of living entities from his own body and mind after the disappearance of Supreme Personality of God. Then he says, O greatly learned one, kindly eradicate all my doubts and let me know of all that I have acquired from you from the beginning to end. So we have seen this, all things we covered. Yeah. So Brahma did penance. So what we discussed penance is to concentrate on the source of energy, that is Krishna. Tapasya means to concentrate. And for us, devotional tapasya is to concentrate on Krishna. Problem is, another thing is wrong way to see the situation. That is the problem. If we take to the world as a place of enjoyment or a place of learning, that this also we discussed. This is greatly learned, says Maitreya. Brahmana thus engaged himself in penance for 100 celestial years, as advised the personality of Godhead, and applied himself in devotional service. So, what is the penance? For us, tapasya is chanting plus meditation, not just chanting. We should meditate also on the Lord. That means the consciousness should be involved. Then, thereafter, Brahma saw that both the lotus on which he was situated and water on which the lotus was growing was trembling due to a strong, violent wind. When long penance and transcendental knowledge of self-relations has matured Brahma in practical knowledge, thus he drank the wind completely along with the water. And then we discuss that such control of mental energy, however, can be most successfully carried out if one is a soul surrendered onto the Supreme Personality of God and carries out his orders in the spirit of loving transcendental service. Thereafter, he saw that the lotus on which he was situated was spread throughout the universe, and he contemplated how to create all the planets which were previously merged in that very lotus. Then we discussed the seeds of all planets in the universe are impregnated in the lotus on which Brahma was situated. So it is given by Lord only, the seed. Then the next point was, thus engaged in service of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Brahma entered into the world of the lotus, and as it spread all of the universe, he divided it into three divisions and later into 14. Then we discuss how consciousness, when enters into matter, then matter expands. And now Lord Brahma is the most exalted personality of the universe because of his causeless devotional service unto the Lord. He is in mature transcendental knowledge. He therefore created all the 14 planetary divisions for inhabitants by different types of living entities. This is, we have to discuss this. Prabhupada is telling the Supreme Lord. Here, today we are going to discuss on time factor, which is the next shloka. Before that, we'll just complete. The Supreme Lord is the reservoir of all qualities of living entities. The conditioned soul in the material world reflects only a part of those qualities and therefore are sometimes called Patibimbas. These Patibimba living entities are part and parcel of Supreme Lord, have inherited different proportions of his original qualities, and in terms of their inheritance of these qualities, they appear as different species of life and are different accommodated in different planets according to the plan of Brahma. Brahma is the creator of three worlds, namely the lower planets called the Pitralokas, the middle planets called Purlokas, and the upper planets called Swargalokas. Still, higher planets such as Maharloka, Tapaloka, and Brahmaloka do not dissolve in the devastating water. This is because of the causeless devotional service rendered on to live by the inhabitants. Those exists Those existence continues up to the end of Parar time, which are generally liberated from the chain of birth and death in the material. That is one full life of Brahma. Now, today's topic here, this is a shloka. Vidra vacha yatha tadbhurupasya hareradbhuta karmana kalakyam lakshan brahman yata varnaya na prabhu. Vidra inquired from Maitreya, my lord, who greatly learned sage, kindly describe eternal time. This is another form of Supreme Lord. The wonderful actual, which are like symptoms of that eternal time. Please describe them to us in detail. Prabhupada is writing, the complete universe is a manifestation of varieties of entities beginning from the atoms up to the gigantic universe itself, and all is under the control of Supreme Lord in form of Kala or eternal time. Then controlling time has different dimensions in relation to particular physical embodiments. There is time for atomic dissolution and a time for the universal dissolution. There is a time for the annihilation of the body of human being, and there is time for annihilation of the universal body. Also, growth, development, resultant actions all depend on the time factor. Vidra wanted to know in detail the different physical manifestations and their times of annihilation. I'll try to tell some things on this topic of time, which is a very difficult topic to understand also, because many people, they try to understand how the time works. And here, same thing. Mitra is asking Mitra, you want to know about the time? Kala, this is what people try to understand what is the time, but they don't have any clue, especially nowadays. They're very where their conception of time is not very big. They don't understand how. But first of all, Kala is coming from this Kala means it's a calculation. Sankhya, it has this word. And Vishnu Sahasranama, Lord is called Kala, and many places Lord is Kala. Kala, Sarvam, Kalam, Pridam, Manye, Kalosmi, Lokam, Shedupitam. Kala is time something which puts end to everything, which calculates the end and ultimately brings the destruction of everything, up to the atom, up to the gigantic universe. That is the one understanding. Something which puts an end to everything, which calculates the end and ultimately brings about the destruction of everything. That is what is time factor. That is one of Kala is the powerful and terrible, horrifying force which puts end. Now, and including everything, whatever we are, all our humble self also. So this is what, and that's the main purpose of Kala, to make us not so humble living entities humble. As we understand the existence of supreme power, how we understand the existence by the presence of this cruel time. Lord is telling, follows me, I am the time. Then Arjuna, who are you? He says, I am time only. which sooner or later puts end to that. Now, Kala is something which limits. This is another different concept. I'll come to that point. It puts limit to everything. And we can see that even the most powerful demons in the universe, they are limited by time. And the time comes, that's it. No matter how powerful a person may be, and you are finished. Time has come, your time has come basically means that now you have audience with the Supreme Lord in the form of time. And that's how the demons see the Lord in the form of time. You have darshan of this particular form of Lord. Everybody will get darshan of Lord, but either directly form of Lord or in the form of time. Of course, another understanding is the kalam is something which calculates. Calculating basically means there is appearance of something, maintenance of something, and again destruction. All these things, growth, development, and resultant actions, they all depend on time factor. That is, now this is a force. Please try to understand. This is a force which is behind all the processes taking place in the metal world. This is the main force only. And Brahma Samhita also, where the creation of the world is described in a metaphorical way, it is explained what really this Kala is, how Lord takes the form of Kala. It is a very peculiar process how Lord is completely transcendental, who has nothing to do with this metal world, who is totally immersed in his transcendental pastimes in the spiritual world. He takes the form of Kala, and which comes in a very intimate contact with metal world. And basically it pushes and manipulates everything in this metal world. And Krishna says, when he speaks in Bhagavad Gita also, he says, Maya Dikshena Prakriti Suyete Characharam. That means he's telling Maya Dikshana. Literally, everything I am only taking care, every minutest part, all the universe. And the process of is the Lord is transcendental. He has nothing to do with material world. And but everything he is doing is taking care in this form of Kala. The world takes care of it. All the process that takes place in the material world is a very, very nicely to be understood. Now, Lord is glancing. Lord glance is called Shambhu. That is also time factor. When it glances, then this there will be initially it is Pradhan. And when it glances on this equilibrium of modes of metal nature in the Pradhan, the original state, which is in completely equilibrium, immediately the time factor it disturbs it. What is the time factor? The time factor disturbs this equilibrium from the material nature and everything is moving on. That means first it started agitating, it moved. Time factor disturbed it. And then the modes of nature they started functioning, disturbed by the equilibrium, that's by the glance of Lord. And then remaining everything started. Just like the strength of fire within the fuel. The rod remain within the water of the solution, submerging all living entities in their bodies. It means he lay in a self-invigorated energy called Kal, self-formed Kal. It is now everything is in equilibrium. Kala was submerged within the Lord. Then the Lord glanced into this metal world, into the metal energy, and with this glance, he impregnated the metal energy with all living entities, with their residual karma accumulated in previous life. This action throws out all the modes of energy out of equilibrium. And now what happens is Kala is something that moves, we discussed. Therefore, Kala is not an undifferentiated media in which all the events take place. Because the modern concept of Kala is something you cannot know, you cannot define, but it is. They say it is not divisions. No, but Kala has divisions. This is actually what this next chapter tells. Divisions of time. This is what I slightly explained. Like Kala is manipulating the modes of mental nature. Therefore, each and every moment or fraction of time is saturated with different modes of this unique combination of three modes of nature. Each and every moment or fraction of time is saturated with modes of unique combination of these three modes. That means what happens? The Kala, if you see the divisions that will be given next chapter, small divisions, it actually manipulates all the three modes. That means now also we are manipulated by the time factor. This is what is the concept in astrology also. Every moment of a time has a unique combination of three modes. Every time it is a different combination. And this is how the time manipulates this material world. It's a manipulation only. No, no, I am like this. After 10 years, I'm not like this. So there is a manipulation. But every time it's a manipulation done by whom? The manipulation is done by time only. That is the point. Every unique combination, it's a manipulation. And how Krishna controls this world? To this minutest, very precise manipulation of modes of mental nature. He is telling that's actually I am. That's the time. Like say we are sitting here. There are so many different differences taking place. Or we are hearing the lectures. The moment after moment, the slightest difference on the influence of modes are there on our mind. That means the influence of Kala is on our mind. And because of which we do different activities. We have different receptive powers of this, and the time influences different people in this whatever class we are sitting. And somebody may be cooking now, somebody may be just walking, and somebody may be listening. And now, what is happening is this time factor. Understand? Hope you are understanding. I will, I will write for you. So this time, what I told is the glance of love. Now, what did this glance do? It the equilibrium is disturbed, right? The equilibrium of pradhan, it got disturbed. So what happened? This is actually time. Now this time, it created this all the universe, whatever we are now. It's a universe. Now every time this is disturbing. Every time this is disturbing. It is changing, making changes. And how the changes? It is from the minutest particles. It is making the change. This is the point. Now, like what I am doing now, say I am speaking. How I am speaking and why I am speaking. There are two aspects. And I will explain this point. Like now, all of us are doing different activities. Who is making this activity done in a particular way? That is my question. Oh, I am doing. These three questions should be answered. Say now, All of you are different, doing different activities. Maybe very few must be listening to the class. Now, why different activities are happening? Because we say three modes. Because of modes. Now, these modes are influenced by time. That's why the activities are happening. Just the modes cannot do. They are just set in equilibrium. If the time factor enters, then there is a manipulation. This is what is called time. And how much level manipulation is? It is next chapter tells the divisions are so small. That means it's a first, that is the different modes, how they act. So these three modes now they influence the mind first. Influence the mind. So influence mind. If mind is influenced, it will affect our action also. That is the point. If our mind is affected, it will affect uh, the action also. So the modes, every moment they're changing to the minutest, and it is influencing our mind because mind is influenced action. The process is simple: mind and then action. Now, why I am doing certain action? It is because of influence of my mind. How is mind influenced? Because of modes. How modes are influenced? Because of time. This is the point. The slightest difference of the influence upon our mind is taking place by influence of kala. And because different people have different receptive powers to this, the time influences different people in a different ways. Because the way receive different. We say it's same time, but everybody is acting because of our receptive power. Now, uh, that's why all our activities are different, right? Some are sleeping, some are cooking, some are hearing, some are doing this. Some are dreaming, some are meditating what to do after class. Now, this is how the time manifests because every moment of time is different. Every moment of time, it is manipulated. Some more points you will understand. And this is very different. And this is according to the modes of material. This is how, like, say, certain event takes place. We don't know why that event takes place. Say, certain now there is war is happening. We know why it started because main thing is time factor. Time is ripe for it. That's right. Time again is not a neutral media which has nothing to do with it. Time is not neutral. This another thing. Time is not neutral. Which people they think it's a neutral. No, it has this causative effect, which according to Vedas, which is the most important peculiar concept. Time is an active factor. It is not a neutral factor. It's an active factor, which actively involves in the minutest events of this world. And therefore, time is one of the causative factors. Now, that's one of the causes. See, according to Vedic concepts, There are three main causes. This is very interesting. I thought there are two causes. No, there are three main causes. First is our desire. Second is the loss of material nature. And the third is time. This is how. So these are the this is for why, how, and who. So it answers three questions. Why, how, and who. I'll explain. Like say there are three, and the cause is one of the active fact. The time is that's one of the cause. Actually, we should understand the three causes. So first cause is the desire of living entity. Why this material world takes place? This is the first. Why this material world takes place? Because we want it. The living entity want. And why material way, certain way, why the degradation takes place? It is simple. Why Kaliya is so degraded? Because the living entity wanted it. There is such a strong desire of living entity for all their gross sense gratifications. That is the reason the Kali Yuga is there. And now the second reason. That means first I desired I want to enjoy very grossly. Okay. The second important cause is the loss of mental nature. It's not that we are here because New Age people they give this. They say you have to desire. You have to imagine your dream. You just have to look at your dream and visualize your dream, and then you will dream. Now I think, okay, I will desire that I want to become the president of America. No matter how much I visualize, how much practical it is. If you desire, then you will become it. But there is another cause, that is loss of nature. We can not only get something which we are allotted, what we according to the laws of nature. I can spend whole life desiring, but it is not good. So we are allotted according to laws of nature. What is this one? So first is desire. Everybody is clear about it. Second is laws of nature. According to what is allotted. Say now I have some particular karma to get a car. I have particular karma to have a house. I have particular karma to have children or to become a grandfather or a husband or a wife or to get something. So I have then it is allotted to me by laws of nature because based on my karma. I may desire that no, I want to become very strong, healthy person. You may have desire, but you should also have the sufficient karma. So there should be allotment. And there are so many other things, laws of nature. Not only karma, other aspects also come. Now, unless because there are so strict laws which governs this material world, which have nothing to say, very important. Now, the desire of living entity answers the question why something happens because it is. Laws of nature explains how it happens. And now they like science, they can tell why. They can tell how, but science cannot tell. This question is why and who is not very easy for the science to answer. To some extent, they say, but this question is not easy for science. The science is saying that, oh, This is a certain phenomena, certain we answer the questions. They describe the laws of nature. They explain the aspect of causality. This is cause. Science can tell the very important what science can do. Science can explain the aspect of causality. So causality, the cause it can tell, but it cannot how why it takes place. The third factor, which is unknown to them, which is the time factor, which answers the question uh, why it takes place at that time. We may have the desire, the laws of material nature are also certain, but time factor is there. It's not that it will not happen. Say, I'll give an example. Uh, I want to write a book. Now, this is what comes as desire, right? Now, the second thing is, do I have the skills also? That means it is my good karma. And there are all facilities. That is also means there are printer available, there is a person available, there is somebody who is editor available for me. All the facilities are there for me. That is also because of the karma factor. And then there is, these are all laws of nature only. Means laws of nature is facilitating in terms of my karma, it is there, facilities are there, skills are there, everything is there. Now, and I am making so much endeavor to uh, write a book, and I have wrote also. I'm trying to give to the printer, and everything is happening. But in spite of these things, somehow book is not getting printed, not getting. They say there are some small technical error. Then say, oh, some particular paragraph, there is some mistake made. We have to correct it again. Or the forward letter was not sent on time. This, that. All these things come. Now, I have a desire. Material nature is also cooperating. That means I have sufficient karma and all the things are good. But still, it is not happening. Why? Because time did not come. This is what is important for time. So two things we have learned. So here, unless the time comes, you cannot say like Kali Yuga degradation. Why Kali Yuga takes place? Because the living entity desires, because the laws of material nature, including laws of society, and so many things come. Internet, this, and so many things come. But more important is it will start because the time factor is known. Like Prabhupada's God brothers, they had skills, they have they have desire, but they could not preach in West. Prabhupada could. The time factor favored Prabhupada. That's all. Why Krishna sent Prabhupada at that time? Because it is possible that time only. Because he wanted it to be done through him. So that's how we should understand the events of the world, including the time. Time factor is not something which limits everything, but time factor is something which facilitates also, which takes place in the material world. or two things. That's the time. Two things we have learned. First is time is measuring, destroying everything. First, time measures. Measures what? Our duration. Means it limits this measure. Second is it influences. Influences what? Influences our mind. And because of which actions. And the third thing is time what it does? It decides our action. It decides the events. It is a deciding factor when it should happen. That is also time. So it limits and time factor is also facilitates, or we can say facilitates, decides our system. And this idea, till now, any questions before I go to further points? Hope you understand. Now, according to Brahma Samhita, it says Kshiram Dada iti Vikara Visesha Yoga Sanjayate Nantata Patagasti Heto Eshambutam Samupeti Kalya Govindamadi Purusham Tamam. This is time factor. Okay, what we'll do, because we have next chapter also continuation. I will explain more in the time factor in that chapter. Because we have some other topics to cover here. I will explain. Hope till now it is clear. The three things that I have told: measures, influences, and facilitates. Okay, that much we can remember from. We'll continue our discussion on this. Maitreya Vacha Guna Vyatikarakaro Nirvishesho Pratistita Purushastat Upadhanam Atmanam Dilaya Srijat. Maitreya said, eternal time is the primeval source of interactions of three modes of mental nature. So this we have discussed. It is unchangeable and limitless. And it works as the instrument of Supreme Personality of Godhead for his pastimes in the material creation. So the four things are here. First, what it does, it's the interaction of modes of mental nature. Every minutest, the equilibrium is disturbed. It is unchangeable and limitless. That is easy to understand. Purpose is the impersonal time factor is the background of material manifestation as the instrument of the Supreme Lord. It is the ingredient of assistance offered to the material nature. No one knows where time begins, where it ends. And it is the time only which can keep a record of the creation, maintenance, and destruction of material manifestation. Time factor is the material cause of creation and is therefore a self-explanation of the personality of Godhead. Time is considered the impersonal feature of the law. That fact is also explained by modern men in various ways. Some accept it almost as it is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. For example, in the Hebrew literature, time is accepted in the same spirit as the representation of God. It is stated therein, God, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spark in time passed upon the fathers by the prophets. Metaphysically, time is distinguished as absolute and real. Absolute time is continuous and is unaffected by the speed or slowness of material things. Absolute time is continuous and is unaffected by speed or slowness of material things. Time is astronomically and mathematically calculated in relation to speed, change, and life of a particular object. It's nice. Time in is astronomically and mathematically calculated in relation to the speed, change, and life of a particular object. Actually, however, time has nothing to do with this relatives of things. Rather, everything is shaped and calculated in terms of facilities offered by time. Time is the basic measurement of activity of ourselves by which we calculate past, present, and future. But in factual calculation, time has no beginning and no end. Chanakya Pandit says that even a slight fraction of time cannot be purchased with millions of dollars. Therefore, even a moment of time lost without profit must be calculated as the greatest loss in life. Time is not subjected to any form of psychological or the movements of objective realities in themselves. And they are dependent on particular experience. Now, here, when we are told that this is very important, time has nothing to do with all these things. It is, it has nothing to do with uh, the relatives of things. Rather, everything shaped and calculated by time, facilitated, offered by time. So, what the time is influencing the modes, and modes are actually happening here. So, it is not the time, it is nothing to do with time. But what we calculate time is according to the change that is creating. The change is speed, the change, there is life, and there is old age, there is disease, all this past, present, future. It is happening in which? It is happening in the modes only. It's not in the time. Time just influences modes, and modes are making it past, present, future, and all these things. There is creation, destruction, and all. It is happening in the modes, but not in the time. The time has nothing to do with these relative things. Rather, everything is shaped and calculated in terms of the facility offered by time. That is the point. Time is absolute, continuous, and is unaffected by speedy or so. It is nothing to do with what is happening around. It is just influencing modes, and things are happening in the modes like that. It's a basic measurement of activity of our senses by which we calculate past, present, future. But in factuality, time has no beginning, no end. Till here it is. Hope it is clear. Time is a basic measurement which we calculate. But it does not have past, present, and future. We say, oh, it was in the past, it was in the present, it was in the future, it will be in the future. We are trying to calculate, but for time it's not like that. Therefore, Srila Jiva Goswami concludes that the time factor is in intermixed with the activities, action and reaction of the external nature of God. The external energy or material nature works under the superintendence of the time factor as the Lord Himself. Which is very important. The external energy or the material nature works under the superintendence of the time factor or as the Lord Himself. So, what is the form? Everything is manipulated by the Lord only, and that is in the form of time. And that is why material nature appears to have produced so many beautiful things in the cosmic manifestation. This is confirmed. Maya Dikshena Prakriti Swete Sacharacharam Hetunanena Kante Jagat Viparvat. Vishwa Vai Brahma Tanmatram Samsthaitam Vishnu Mayaya Ishvarena Parichinna Kalena Vyaktamurtina. He says that this cosmic manifestation is separated from the Supreme Lord as the metal energy by means of Kala, which is the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Lord. It is situated as the objective manifestation of Lord under the influence of the same material energy of Vishnu. It's a separated form of Supreme Lord as material energy by means of Kala. This is very important. This is, I wanted to discuss on this. Maybe we will do it when we come to the next chapter. How it is Shambhu is separated by the influence of ignorance. That's a Supreme Lord as a material energy by means of Kala, which is the unmanifested, impersonal feature of Lord. Is situated as a objective manifestation of Lord under the influence of same material energy of Vishnu. This is Mahamaya, not Yoga. Prabhupada writes, as stated previously by Narada before Vyasdev, Idam hi Vishwam Bhagava Nivetara. This manifested world is the self same personality, but it appears to be something else beyond or besides the Lord. It appears so because of its being separated from the Lord by means of Kala. This is the point. So, even though it is the Supreme Lord, it is separated. It is separated, appears to be separated by the Lord because of it sometimes take the shape. It is something like the tape recorder voice of a person who is not separate from recording. As the tape recording is situated on the tape, so the whole cosmic manifestation is situated on the material energy and appears separate from the Lord by means of Kala. The material manifestation is therefore the objective manifestation of Supreme Lord and exhibits his impersonal feature, so much adored by impersonal philosophers. It is also Lord, but it is with Vikara. That is the main point here. We will discuss it also. When Lord is glancing on the material nature, it is coming in touch with this material nature, which is Mahamaya. That's why Kshiram Dada iti Vikara Vishesha Yoga. Kshiram, it's milk only, but Vikara, there is a Vikara added. Then this becomes this Shambhu. That is the point here. That is a Kala is the Vikara of the Supreme Lord only. And the next sloka is saying, that's why it is Supreme Lord. There is no doubt about it. Ditedani Trata Grecha Paschadapi Etadidrisham. As this cosmic manifestation now, it was the same in the past and it will continue in the same way in the future. There is a systematic schedule for perpetual manifestation, maintenance, and annihilation of material world, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Bhutagramam imam krishnam vishwam prakriti vasa. As it is created now and as it is will be destroyed later, so also it existed in the past and again will be created, maintained, destroyed in the due course of time. Therefore, the systematic activity of time factor are perpetual of eternal and cannot be stated to be false. The manifestation is temporary and occasional, but it is not false, as stated, as claimed by Mayavadis. सर्गो नवविदास्तस्य प्राकृतो वैकरस्तुत्यः कालद्रव्यगुणैकस्य प्रतिक्षण रमा. There are 9 different kinds of creations besides the one which naturally occurs due to the interaction of modes. There are 3 kinds of annihilation to the eternal times, the metal elements, and the quality of one's work. So there are 9 different types of creation. which occurs due to the interaction of modes. That's all. And the three kinds of annihilation due to time. That means in Brahma's creation, it is the time factor that is so there are 9 different types of creation. This is one natural occur due to the interaction of modes. And Prabhupada writes the scheduled creation and annihilation takes place in terms of supreme being. First time. Creation starts with time because Lord glances. Otherwise, there is no creation of it. It's all time. There are other creations due to the interaction of modes of elements which takes place by the intelligence of Brahma later. This will be more explained or explicit at the present. Only preliminary information is given. The three kinds of annihilation due to the scheduled time of the annihilation of entire universe, due to the fire which emanates from the mouth of Atma, and due to qualitative actions and reactions. Vishnu. So next. अध्यस्तु महासर्गो गुण वैषम्य आत्मनः दैतीयस्तु यत्र द्रव्यज्ञान क्रिया क्रियोदयः. Of the 9 creation, the first one is the creation of Mahat, the sum total of metal ingredients, wherein the modes interact due to the presence of the Supreme Lord. In the second, the false ego is generated, in which the metal ingredients, metal knowledge, and metal activities arise. The first emanation from the Supreme Lord for the material creation is called Mahatattva. The interactions of metal modes is the cause of false identification, or the sense that a living being is made of metal elements. This false ego is the cause of identifying the body and mind with the soul proper. Now, once the chitta is created, that is just a conscious level. But now, for activity should form, there should be ego also. First, there is a conscious. As soon as we wake up, we become conscious. After few seconds, we get our identity back. Then we forget our identity. We are in a dream. The conscious, I know I exist. It's a deep sleep also. We know we exist. But we don't know who we are. Means there is no separate identity. Initially, Mahatattva, 3 modes, everything is the first the emanation of Supreme Lord, the form of Mahatattva is there. It's just a conscious, that's all, consciousness. Now, I need to separate myself. I should have my own individual conscious. I factor should come. Oh, I am so and so. I am so and so. I am conscious. That is only one level. But I am so and so. I am such a person now. So this is actually the identification, the false identification, the sense that a living. I'll explain. Say, the first is Mahatattva. So Mahatattva is only conscious. It is that it is Chitta. This part is I know I exist. I'm just conscious. But who am I? This is very important. This I factor did not come. Only conscious came. Existence is there. Even I, that word is also, we cannot write here, this level. Only I exist. That conscious, just consciousness. Now, but that I factor is what comes in the second level, that is at the level of ego. The interaction of material modes is the cause of false identification in the sense that a living being is made of certain elements. This false ego is the cause of identifying with the body and mind with the soul proper. So, material resources and the capacity and the knowledge to work are all generated in the second term of creation. After Mahatattva, in this verse, the word jnana indicates that the senses which are the source of knowledge along with the source. So, who am I? This is the second. This is the first creation. And the second creation is false, where I get identity separate. In the verse, jnana indicates the sense which is the source of knowledge along with the senses controlling deities. Kriya indicates the working organs and their controlling. All are generated in the second creation. The identity is given, then along with it the knowledge, which is source of jnana, along with the senses, controlling deities, everything. भूतसर्गस्तृतीयस्तु तन्मात्रो द्रव्यसा शक्तिमान् चतुर्थ सर्गो yastu jnana kriyatmakaha. The sense perceptions are created in the third creation. And from these elements are generated. The fourth creation is the creation of knowledge. So sense perceptions. So senses are there. Now I have my identity. Now they should active. They should become active. And that is actually the sense perception. And from these, the elements are generated. I can see, smell, touch. Now I need some elements also. The fourth creation is the creation of knowledge for working capacity. So this is how the very, very scientific creation. If you understand in this scientific way, so first you have consciousness, then identity. Now I have identity. Now there are two more factors before I act. Now I got an identity. Then what I need? I need the senses and sense perceptions. Like I should experience now. So this is what happens. This is only identity. Then this is at the level of experience. So now here the second level is you need to get the perceptions and the elements. Now at the fourth level comes, so this is level of buddhi, the working. Working is after this. The perception comes like manas, we can say. It's an ankar. This is chitta. And now comes action. So here comes the action part. So then the fourth comes the creation is the creation of knowledge and the working capacity. वैकारिको देवसर्ग पंचमोयन्मयं मनः षष्ठस्तु तमस सर्गो यस्तु अबुद्ध कृत प्रभु. The fifth creation is that of controlling deities by the interactions of mode of goodness, of which the mind is the sum total. The sixth creation is that of the living entities, darkness of ignorance, which makes the matter act as a fool, makes the master act as a fool. Now, fifth is the deities who are controlling this. You need to have boss, and which mind is the sum total. Sixth is the living entities, darkness of ignorance, which makes a person act like fool. We'll see. It's a big part, but we'll try to understand. The demigods in the higher planet system are called Devatas because they are the devotees of Lord Vishnu. Vishnu Bhakta Smito Dhaiva Asurasta Viparya. All the devotees of Lord Vishnu are Devas or demigods, whereas others are Asuras. That is the division of the Devas and Asuras. Devas are situated in goodness of mental nature, whereas the Asuras are situated in the mode of passion or ignorance. The demigods or controlling deities are entrusted with departmental management of all the different functions of mental. For example, one of our sense organ is eye, is controlled by light. Light is distributed by the sun rays, and this controlling deity is the sun. Similarly, the mind is controlled by moon and other senses. Both for working and for acquiring knowledge are controlled by different demigods. Demigods are thus assistants of Lord in the management of universe because they are situated in goodness, whereas asuras. So the sense organs are controlled by these devatas. So Lord, He gave it, but we cannot operate it. So He has to make some system for operating. They made the department. We have a department of traffic rules and regulations. There is a department, but there should be a commissioner for traffic department also, right? Who will make things happen, where the traffic light should be there, how they should work, how they should function, and like that. So we need to have a person who is above it. Now all the laws are made in the government also. But every department they keep one in charge also. Why? Are you made laws now? No. If in charge is not there, it will not function. Why? Like say in the university, you have all departments, all the heads of the department are there, everybody is there. Why do you need a principal? You make a schedule. Then we take an example of a college. You can make a schedule and put all the schedule. So college, you make a schedule, you appoint teachers and give facilities. Means all the classrooms are there, libraries are everything. Then why we need a principal? So why we need a principal then? Why? Because ego is needed to work. That is why. There should be overall ego for all these things. Otherwise, it cannot function. Teachers, they are told, okay, this is your timing, this is your classroom, this is the monthly salary you get, and these are the classes you have to take. They can go on their time, they can give their class, they can come back. And same thing, students are told, this is the time, this is the classroom, and this is the time. They can go and come, but it won't work like that. Why? You need a principal to oversee. And without his knowledge only, everything goes on. Interestingly. Not that principal has to go and see every boy is coming, every teacher is coming. No. His presence itself will do it. That is the power of ego. Because this is the ego factor that works. Similarly, all the sense organs, they are there, the power is there, but there is demigods who will make them operate. One of our sense organ, the eye, is controlled by light. Light is distributed by the senses and their controlling deity is the sun. Similarly, mind. So there should be a person also behind it. Demigods are thus assistants of the Lord in managemental material affairs. What is their assistance? They are taking different in charges of these departments. After the creation of demigods, all entities are covered with the darkness of ignorance. Each and every living being in the material world is conditioned by his mentality of lording it over resources of material nature. Although a living entity is the master of material world, is conditioned by ignorance by the false impressions of being the proprietor of living things. The energy of Lord is called avidya, is the bewildering factor of the conditioned souls. The material nature is called avidya or ignorance. But to the devotees of Lord engaged in pure devotional service, this energy becomes vidya, or pure knowledge. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. The energy of Lord transforms from Mahamaya to Yogamaya and appears to pure devotees in their real feature. The material nature therefore appears to function in three phases: as creative principles of material world, as ignorance, and as knowledge. As disclosed in the previous verses, in the fourth creation, the power of knowledge is created. The conditions of souls are not originally fools, but by the influence of Vidya functions, the material nature, they are made into fools. Thus, they are unable to utilize knowledge in a proper channel. By the influence of darkness, the conditions forgets his relationship with the Supreme Lord and is overwhelmed by attachment, hatred, fire, ignorance, and false identifications. Five kinds of illusion that cause material bondage. So, we'll continue our discussions tomorrow. Any questions, comments? Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki